Let's talk a little bit about pantoscopic tilt and face form. We'll discuss what they are, how to adjust for them, and why they're important. By face form, we refer to the angle of the lenses against our face. So from the top down, you see the angle here and how it hits our face this way. So a high face form, positive face form, would be something like a very wrapped sunglass, and negative face form as if it's coming out this way. We never have a situation where negative face form is desirable, but every frame should have some positive face form. By pantoscopic tilt, we mean the angle of the frames this way. They should not be out like this. This would be retroscopic tilt versus pantoscopic tilt. This would be an example of very high pantoscopic tilt. You can see it's very close to my cheeks down here and far away from my eyebrows up at the top. Here is an example of what we would call retroscopic tilt, very close at the top and very far. It's slanted out quite a bit that way. Retroscopic tilt is not something that would ever be desirable on a frame. We should always have some amount of pantoscopic tilt. Adjusting for face form is done right here in the bridge, and you basically just try and get in there and bend it tighter. You want to try and bend it evenly on each side, otherwise you end up with it being fairly flat on one side and steeper on the other side. So you want to look at it and adjust at that bridge evenly. Now you'll want to get on a plastic frame and make sure and heat that really good before you bend it, and then make sure that you are cooling it down, otherwise it will deviate back to where it was. You want to make the bend at this point here and here, not in the bridge center. I suppose you could do that if you could do it evenly, but it's easier to do evenly as you put it here on each corner. For adjusting pantoscopic tilt, we're going to put the temple lower here. This is increasing the pantoscopic tilt, and you'll want to take a look at it and make sure that both are even. So as we bench fit that, we can see that side is up now, and we'll want to adjust this one to the same, and therefore we increase this angle as we move this temple down a little bit. Again, on a plastic we may have to heat that area depending on how it's oriented, and also as we get into a thicker temple, it's sometimes a little bit harder to adjust that pantoscopic tilt. So why is this all important to have adjusted properly? Well, a lot of that has to do with the rotation of your eye. So it's important because our eyes don't move laterally. If we have a lens like this, our eye does not move across the lens like this. It's going to move on a arc like that. And so what happens if we have poor face form, we are going to be far away from the lens on the outside and close to the lens on the inside. So your eye is going to move on an arc like this. And if we have poor pantoscopic tilt or poor face form, we will be a different distance away from the lens there than here, and potentially we could be very close here and very far away on the outside. And so what we are trying to do is match the arc of the eye, both up and down and side to side. If we are talking about pantoscopic tilt, as we look down to our reading, if it is farther away than where we're looking distance, we'll pull away from there and we won't get a very good use of our segment. Now also think that we are looking through two eyes at the same time. If we have negative face form, what's actually going to happen is as we move this way, you're getting closer to the lens on this eye and farther away from the lens on this eye. And when we're experiencing binocular vision, we'll have a difference in depth of field change in both eyes, and that can be very confusing for your brain to try and figure out, and that's why people experience vision that they just can't explain. Does not work. Doesn't work. My glasses don't work. I can't see out of them. Whereas if we put some face form on this, like this, now both eyes, as they turn, are going to stay similarly spaced between those lenses, and therefore we'll have balanced vision. A big issue that a lot of people have when they first start to troubleshoot glasses is someone will come in and say, I can't see, I don't know why my glasses are not working, I just know that when I'm looking through them, you'll find that these patients have a null point, typically straight ahead, it's clear, but as they start looking off center it becomes not clear, or sometimes a little off center is clear, and then as they move they'll tell you stuff like swim, they will tell you stuff like blurry, and you'll end up saying, I have no idea what's wrong with these. They check out okay, and they everything is perfectly fine. We check the measurements, we check the prescription, everything is good. The first thing I do with these patients is increase the pantoscopic tilt and increase the face form. And most of the time, probably 90% of the time, that fixes the problem, especially in single vision. You're like, there's no reason why this person should be having issues seeing out of their glasses. Everything is correct, and it's not a high definition design. It's not a progressive design that could be the issue. It's just simply they can't see. And you increase the pantoscopic tilt, you give them some face form, and all of a sudden they can see again. So this is face form and pantoscopic tilt. Again, the first thing I do when troubleshooting is adjust the face form and pantoscopic tilt. It's something that we should all be doing, and it's something to be very aware of, especially again in those high minuses and progressive wears.